Good morning, Sam.
Good morning.
Good evening from India. Okay, without much ado, I'll hand over the mic to you, Sam. Let's get to the topic. Indian National Congress 2024, 138 not out. I want you to talk about the 138 years of history and what is in it, the kitty for the future. Go ahead, Sam. Why don't you set up the context, Sam?
Okay, first of all, I want to welcome everybody to this interaction. Today is a special topic because we just celebrated 138th foundation year of the Indian National Congress. The Indian National Congress was first convened in December of 1885. There has been some work going on earlier because the real process started, I believe, in 1850. Lots of people were concerned about what was going on in India vis-a-vis British Raj. People were suffocated because the freedom was affected. Indians were not citizens, but Indians were subjects. Then finally in 1917, Tilak and Annie Besant started to influence the party process and the structure. And then in 1920s, when Mahatma Gandhi came back from South Africa, he really provided a new sense of direction to Congress party with focus on non-violence and civil disobedience. Congress party has been around for 138 years, and I can assure you it'll be around for another 138 at least. It had ups and downs, like everything else, but the root of the Congress party lies in the kind of people who really gave it a shape, whether it is Lokmanya Tilak, Gandhiji, and hundreds of others who worked tirelessly to fight against British Raj, to really not only achieve freedom, but also to improve lives of the poor at the bottom of the economic pyramid. We must remember that in fight against British Raj, all Maharajas and the rich really aligned with Britishers because their interests were tied up with the people in power, because power and profits go together. Congress party interests were tied up in breaking the power, lifting the poor, and providing opportunities to all. When World War II began in 1939, British made India a part of it without really consulting Indians, and that really gave added momentum to Congress efforts. In 1942, the year I was born, Congress party sponsored mass civil disobedience. and demanded British to quit India. So the Quit India movement was the year I was born. Finally, in 1947, India got independence, and in 1950, India got her own constitution. But the fight for freedom was very complex. No one knew that we will get freedom in 1947. So first major contribution of Congress party is really to free India at the time when others were really aligned with British Raj. People, especially rich, wanted to continue their rent seeking operations. But what was going on in India was also going to affect rest of the world. To me, a larger contribution of India is to really decolonize the entire world. Because India became independent, a domino effect started world over. In 20 years, less than 20 years after India's independence, the entire world got decolonized. To me, this is the largest, most important historical event that doesn't give enough credit to Congress party. So Congress party movement was not just in India. People focused on Gandhian ways of doing things, whether it was in ultimately South Africa, Martin Luther King, in US, or many others. British realized that sun was going to set because India had taken the lead. That really gave birth to a whole generation of leaders. Growing up as a child, Pandit Nehru, Sardar Patel, Subhash Chandra Bose, Maulana Azad, Sarojini Naidu, Rabindranath Tagore, and the list goes on and on. All these people made huge impression of us as young children. They were our role models. I'm going through this quick history just to put things in perspective. And then I also want to talk a little bit about what have we accomplished. But I think it's important to put this in perspective that a lot of people lost lives for our independence. Whether it is Bhagat Singh or large number of people who died in Amritsar, Jallianwala Bagh, where I've been there and I've seen it. And you then realize when you go there the sacrifices of the people. These are our unsung heroes that we don't even remember in day-to-day life. We take all that for granted. So I believe in Congress party because I understand the sacrifices of the large number of people who spend decades, some their own life, families, fortunes in giving us the freedom that we enjoy today. I had the opportunity to see Pandit Nehru as a little boy in first year of college. I had taken a group of students along with two professors we had, one from physics and one from botany. We were about 35, 40 people who went on a train tour to see India in 1958. When we were in Delhi, we asked for an appointment and we got to see, along with lots of other people, Pandit Nehru at his house. It was quite a moment for a 15-year-old. I could see radiating energy because I had this image of a freedom fighter, of someone who had stayed in jail, wrote a book, and who was a prime minister of a country. Then later, when Pandit Nehru died, I was in the US at that time, and Lal Bahadur Shastri ji was made prime minister. I had never had a chance to meet him, but I know his family very well, know all his children. I worked with them, and we have a very personal relationship. I have a personal relationship with the Shastri family. And they are Gandhians to the core, simple people. Then I met Indira Gandhi, and I had several interactions with her. And finally, I got to work with Rajiv Gandhi, and we can talk about that at some other time. Unfortunately, Mrs. Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi were taken away from us untimely and through violence. After Rajiv Gandhi, Narasimha Rao was the prime minister, then Manmohan Singh. I had worked with Narasimha Rao personally. I was still advisor to the prime minister, and then with Dr. Manmohan Singh. So I have seen in my own way congressmen, Congress culture, Congress idea. And I must tell you, they were all simple people, contrary to what you hear. None of these people were corrupt as media and some opposition leaders meaning opposition to Congress party, tend to articulate and project. Congress party has always focused on bottom of the pyramid, inequality, justice, diversity, truth, trust, love, peace. These are not just words for Congress party. And that's what attracted me. And when I worked with Rajiv Gandhi, I felt Congress party gave me a unique opportunity to make a major contribution. I always say that Rajiv Gandhi gave meaning to my life. Otherwise, I would have been just an ordinary engineer, making perhaps lots of money, living in lavish multiple homes. As opposed to that, I feel content. I feel fulfilled, happy that I got a chance, along with many others, to help connect India. So, Congress party history is very rich. You can spend months and months studying about Congress party history. But bottom line is, it is a 138-year party. Many people have made contribution to this party. Party belongs to the people. Recently, Gandhi family has become a custodian of the idea of India. It is not a dynasty. It is not a family party. I can tell you decisions are made based on lots of conversation, and final decision comes out of consensus, contrary to what people think. It is not an authoritarian regime. I can speak, and sometimes people will say, oh, There are too many opinions in Congress party, but that's the beauty of Congress party. There are open fights. That's the beauty of Congress party. Okay? It is not what people think it is. What have we accomplished? This question comes up all the time. The most important thing is we were the party to independence movement, contrary to what other people say. Today we celebrate people who killed Mahatma Gandhi. I mean, what kind of a system is that? So we have a major difference in the idea of India, in what we believe in. I have seen a video where one of the female leaders of the BJP is holding a gun, and there is a statue of Mahatma Gandhi along with 8, 10 people. They are shooting that statue, and sort of white color, ketchup probably, as a symbol of blood comes out, and they are all celebrating. I mean, what kind of a party is that? What kind of a system is that? And these are the people who say nothing got done in 70 years. At independence, we had very little. We had no money. We had very little talent. We had no business infrastructure because British had looted India essentially, killed our industries, demoralized our people, and taken a lot of wealth away from us. There are estimates of all kinds. Some people have done studies in England, and estimates are in 30, 40 trillion dollar has been taken away from India. It is that India we inherited. So our founding fathers had to build talent. We needed engineers to build bridges, so we created IITs. We needed managers to run our banks and public sector, so we created IIMs. We needed our science to flourish, so we created CSIR laboratory, agricultural research, AIMS. We built universities, and we focused on education to build the talent we needed. We had no money in private sector, so we focused on public sector. Bakra Mangal Dam, Bhilai Steel Plant, and the list goes on and on. It is easy to criticize today about the decisions we made in 40s and 50s and 60s. But you have to realize those decisions were made based on not today's conditions, but based on yesterday's conditions. Those decisions may not make sense today. That doesn't mean those were wrong decisions. Believe me, I understand that, because the decisions we made in 80s, in 2024, 23, perhaps may not make sense. But I know it made so much sense then. So when I see all these arguments on TV, these people have no idea what they're talking about. They are naive. They've never done anything in their own life. They are armchair critics. Congress party people have done something. Not that everything we did was right. We made our mistakes, because when you do things, you make mistakes. I wish we had spent more time on education, more resources on literacy, more resources on health. But then you had to build a dam because you had to grow food. You needed water for our farmers. So those decisions are very complicated. You needed steel to build your houses and bridges and all. So you have to put money in steel plant and not in literacy. Female literacy would have been the best thing to do, because ultimately female literacy and infant mortality are critical to managing population. At independence, we had about 300 million people. Today we have 5 times, almost 1.5 billion people. So all the gains we have made don't show up because of population growth. So our founding fathers built higher education, science and technology, had to change laws like in Rajiv Gandhi's time. I remember laws were modified for 18-year-old to vote. Panchayat Raj was created, emphasis on IT and computers. People used to laugh at us, saying these people are crazy that they are talking about computers in India. They should be talking about food. So the amount of resistance we had from the same people, including people like Bajpayee, people like Advani, they were saying, what are these people doing? They used to criticize me for saying that some fellow from America comes who has no idea of India and trying to change India. So, but that was part of the process we all had to go through. In Manmohan Singh's time and Narasimha Rao's time, we liberalized our economy. We introduced RTI. We created Knowledge Commission. We set up Innovation Council. In Rajiv's time, we set up NIC for e-governance. I mean, this was 40 years ago. And what you see today is a result of all the seeds we planted. Things don't happen overnight. The fact today we have chairman of IBM, chairman of Microsoft, and chairman of Google as Indian is because seeds were planted for IITs and IIMs and others 40 years ago. They could study, they could experience, and then they got here. So it is not what happened in the last 10 years, it's what happened in the last 70 years. I'm proud of our accomplishment, but I also know that we could have done a lot better. But you learn from mistakes, you learn from doing it. So the Indian Congress history is very rich. Tapestries were studying in many different ways, and I'm happy to be a part of it, a very small part of it. And I want all our young colleagues to understand the history of Congress Party, the idea of Congress, and the commitment to people at the bottom of the economic pyramid. We haven't done a great job of inequality. We haven't done a great job of population management. We haven't done a great job of probably many other things, but we have also done a great job of lots and lots of things. Whether it is atomic energy, space research, milk production, vaccine productions, food security, these are bigger issues that we handled. In the process, some micro issues didn't get the attention it deserves. But macro issues were handled so that India today can feed 1.5 billion people. India today is connected 1.5 billion people. India today has talent pool that brings $200 billion a year in software earnings. India today has Indian talent all over the world in important jobs and positions. And they send hundreds of billions of dollars back home every year. India has foreign exchange surplus of 600 billion. Indian economy is booming because of India being a young country. And Indian economy will become $5 trillion economy, and it doesn't require Narendra Modi or anybody else. It will happen on its own because it has the momentum built for many, many years. So I want young people to recognize that when you talk of Congress Party, you talk of Indian history as well. You talk of world history. So when we go out to talk to people and some people criticize us, we know that we were the important element in decolonizing the world. We have moral responsibility to talk about these issues on a global scale related to democracy, freedom, human rights, justice, inequality, inclusion, diversity. These are very fundamental issues. I hope we get to talk a little more about these issues today. I'm sorry, instead of 10 minutes, I got carried away and talked for almost 25 minutes. But I get excited about Congress Party. Even in my own family, people tell me, why are you so involved sitting here and why do you work 24 hours a day on these issues in India? Because I believe India has given me everything that I am today. America has added to my knowledge, my skills, and I'm thankful to America as well because my roots were in India. And I'm citizen of both countries in a sense. I may not have American passport anymore. I used to have one. I gave up in 1987. So I have an Indian passport, but I feel this is my country as well. I don't need a passport for me to feel like US belongs to me and India belongs to me and the world belongs to me. With this, I want to open up for a broader conversation. I want to thank you all for being a party to this journey. And I must tell you that the last conversation we had on EVM together has really helped in a broader conversation nationwide on EVM. EVM has become now a subject that people understand little better. So our job is to really take these ideas to public. And today, the key idea is that Congress Party has a very rich history and heritage. Congress Party has been around for 138 years and will be around for 138 more at least. It had ups and downs and it's not going anywhere, but it will go up now. If you really want to understand the history and heritage, I would recommend two books for everyone. One is Discovery of India by Pandit Nehru. This book was written in prison, without Google, without library, and look at every paragraph, every thought, every chapter, and you'll be amazed at the depth of knowledge, understanding, vision. And the second, one of my favorite books, is Gandhiji's biography, autobiography rather. What a man. He's my hero. What a clarity, commitment, simplicity. Once you read these two books, you realize what it means to be a congressman. I strongly recommend young people to read those two books. You don't need any other training. You understand these two books and you understand life, according to me. You understand what it is to be Indian. Thank you. And let's open up for conversation, Sean.
Thank you, Sam. I think it was very good one. Thank you. I think it shows the passion what you have for the party and for India. So I think that's amazing, Sam. So I think I'll just read out Dominic Dixon's commentary. The
Please.
Congress Party played a significant role in rebuilding India after the British invasion and destruction. Remarkable individuals like Dr. Pitroda, a jewel of the Congress, pioneered the development of India's telecom industry. Today, we enjoy the benefit of the world's cheapest internet tariffs. As we approach 2025, it's essential to highlight the achievements of the Congress, which may have been overlooked by many. So I think it's a very valuable insight. You have any thoughts,
Thank you.
Sam, on
Thank you for
Dominic?
a very generous comment.
Sounds good.
Yes. Do we have more people today, Sean, or we have
No, we have 106 people joining from multiple forums, Sam.
good?
So I have a bunch of questions. I think
Please go ahead.
maybe
Just if you can put it on screen,
sure,
that's also fine. It's up to
sure,
you.
Sam. Sure, Sam. What are the three good things you think that we have accomplished in this 138 years, Sam, as a party? For the country, for the world, for maybe whatever humanity? Please go ahead.
The most important thing we have accomplished is we have remained democracy. I talk about this many times. When I was once in Moscow, during Gorbachev's time, I used to go to Moscow quite often. because I used to work on science and technology issues between as an exhibition to be shown in Moscow, Tashkent, and then Leningrad, St. Petersburg. So I used to go there every 3 months. In one of our meetings, a senior minister at dinner told me, he said, Mr. Pitroda, we are so very impressed with India and we are in awe of your nation. And he said, do you know why? He said, because you hold this country with multiple languages, multiple race, religion, caste, color, customs. You can hold this country together without guns. I didn't get it at that point in time as to what he was saying. He said, when we turn our guns around, our country will fall apart. And that's what happened in 1991. He says, what a nation you have built, that you don't need guns in every state to hold people together. I think that is the biggest accomplishment of India. And when that democratic framework is attacked by authoritarian mindset, I worry a great deal. Second important accomplishment is we have been able to build human capacity, human talent, not just for India, but for the world. India is a place which provides talent to the world today. Look at number of doctors in America of Indian origin. If Indian doctors walked away from American health system, it will collapse immediately. So that's second thing I'm proud of. And the third thing I'm very proud of, and that I would consider accomplishment, is that India can feed 1.5 billion people today on our own. There was time when people thought India is a basket case. India will not be able to feed herself. Look at where we are today. So those are the three main issues from my perspective. First, thriving democracy. And most of the other countries that got independence are still struggling. Many have military regimes. Many have unfunctioning democracies. So first is functioning democracy. Second is building human capacity. No one has been able to build the kind of human capacity that we have built in every field: education, health, science, technology, engineering, business, you name it. And many countries use Indian talent in a very big way. It is not just about software. Like I said, it's about medicine. It's about construction workers in Middle East. It's about business tycoons. So these are huge three things. Don't underestimate. How do you build these three things? Now we take it for granted. But go do it. You'll find out what it takes to do it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. What are the top two things which is on the current immediate scheme of things, which is keeping you awake with respect to the party or even the Indian democracy per se?
What keeps me awake is really relates to democracy. Last night I was reading the final copy, edited version of my book that is coming out by Penguin, to be published by Penguin. And I have to sometimes read 3-4 times to make sure that there are no small errors and all that. And I'm not very good at that. The book's title is The Idea of Democracy. To me, democracy is very important because I have taken it for granted. Living in America, coming from India, going back and forth, do whatever you want to do, say whatever you want to say. I was one of those young guys who resisted Vietnam War in America. And I used to have hair this long. And this is leftover of that Vietnam War. And I enjoyed, my resistance to Vietnam War and my openness. And that's the beauty of democracy. And when I see that democracy being attacked for my grandchildren in America as well as in India, it bothers me. I don't want to see a world where you can't say what you want to say, that you are punished for criticizing somebody. It's okay to criticize. You can criticize me. It's perfectly normal for you to say, I don't agree. Last night, I got an email from some girl who was at C. Dot, and she said, I did not appreciate your views on uh, whatever I had said on TV. So I wrote to her, thank you. It's perfectly normal. You don't have to agree with me on everything. Why should you? It'll be boring. So democracy is one which bothers me a great deal. Second thing that bothers me a great deal globally is inequality. I want people to be treated with respect. I want my driver to be treated with great respect as much as my billionaire friend. No difference, okay, when it comes to treating people. So it's not that if a rich guy comes to my home, I will offer him tea immediately, and the poor guy comes, I won't do that. No, I will not even look at the difference. And it's not just for the poor and rich, it is also for person with different religion, different race, different background. I have lots of African American friends, and I find very few Indians have African American friends. And I feel at home with them. Okay, I have no issues. I have a large number of friends in Mexico. One nice thing in my journey is that wherever I go, I can ask one person to organize a dinner in that town, and 50 top people of that town will come to dinner. If I go to Brazil, Argentina, Moscow, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, all I have to do is call one friend and say, can you please organize a dinner this evening because I'm coming there, and 50, 60 people will come. And they are all my friends. Okay. But it takes time to nurture that kind of relationship. It needs sacrifice. On my list, I have 6,000 friends. Friends. These are not people, acquaintance. I know them. I know their children. I know their, families, and I've met them and I've worked with them. I keep that process, not for any benefit, but that's my life. That's the life is all about. So the second most important thing that keeps me awake is inequality, how we treat people with disrespect, anger, envy, jealousy. You know, it doesn't exist in a Gandhian system. Yeah. You have to train yourself. It's not very easy to do that. Yeah. But it is possible. So
I remember
answer to
you
your
telling
question.
about. I remember you telling about the we should remove this word called naukar from our
Yeah, I mean,
dictionaries.
how can you just call somebody knocker? How can you call somebody a servant? You have to call him bhai. Okay. Just help me on this. You're helping me on this. You're my colleague. Okay, you're not my knocker. You know, I would never tell anybody to make, just, hey, go make tea for me. And I'm sitting here reading newspaper. No, I'll get up and do it myself. Okay. Even if there is someone to help me. Okay. That is Gandhian. Okay, to me. But people have different views on these things, and I respect that. I'm just telling you my view.
Do you
Somebody
think?
else will say there are two other things that keeps him wide awake every day, which is perfectly normal.
Do you think, as a party, Congress should go back and trace our Gandhian values?
Of course, that's what Congress Party is all about. You don't have to trace. It is. That
Yes.
is what Congress Party is all about. But in the process, some Congress people have used party to accumulate personal wealth. Congressmen may be rich, but Congress is not rich. I can tell you that. Okay. Some congressmen may be rich. And that is a reflection not of the party, but of the nature of the people in India. Okay. It is not that that is just in Congress party. Every party has that. BJP can't claim that they don't have rich politicians, that they haven't made money on side. Of course, everyone has. Who are you kidding? How do you run a machine like this that BJP runs without siphoning off money? Come on, give me a break. I can't be that stupid. Okay.
Quickly jumping on to our Maya Menon's question. What is the vision of Congress 2024 and beyond? A roadmap for the future to shield our democracy and to protect the idea of India. And the second question she has is when and how will we address crucial services like education and healthcare?
Our manifesto will reflect some of these things. But if I was to summarize for our young people here, what is the vision of the party? Because many times people say, oh, you don't have an articulated vision, you don't have a narrative. We have a narrative if you want to listen to it. But it gets clouded because of all the confusion, conflicts, chaos, and you don't get the right message. So let's say we come to power tomorrow. What is that we would do? Of course, party will decide that. But as Sam Pitroda, I'll tell you my view, and I will articulate as much and as well as I can. First thing I would recommend we do is to uphold our constitution. Read it, reflect it, talk about it, discuss it, and tell people this is what we stand for. This is what we signed in for. Let's review it again and collectively decide that we believe in this document. Second, I would put democracy back on track. I would tell judiciary you are independent, don't take any input from political parties. I would tell income tax office, ED, I will tell all the other institutions that you are independent. You have a job to do. Central bank has a job to do, and they got to do it as well as they know how to do as a professionals. And if we disagree, that's okay. Then I would weed out all the bad apples that has been planted in the system. Things like vice chancellors of universities, things like heads of scientific labs if they are not appropriate. And that task is going to be a very difficult task. Because in the last 10 years, system has eroded. A lot of people have been planted in the system who have authority that they don't deserve. Yeah. Having done these two major things, then I would focus on employment. How do we generate large number of jobs? Where do we create those jobs? And sector by sector, get domain experts to advise us and listen to them. What domain expert in agriculture can tell me is a lot better than what I know about agriculture. Same with energy, same with housing. I believe a lot many more jobs can be created in housing. Construction is the biggest industry, and it doesn't require too much foreign input. It's local steel, dirt, cement, and labor. And we need millions and millions of new homes in India. Infrastructure, energy, education, health, environment, and get domain experts in each of these areas and let them tell us what needs to be done. Environmental expert who has spent 30, 40 years in environment knows a lot more about environment than I do or any minister does. We are not really listening to domain experts that well. I would turn over things to domain experts and say, please tell us how to fix these things. Help us. Every minister should have domain experts as advisors officially. Respect them, learn from them, and don't run over them and advise them. Today, minister would advise domain expert, and domain expert, poor guy, would, bending his back and say, yes, sir, yes, sir. That is just not acceptable. So I think we are clear on what we would do. Economy has to be fixed. Inflation has to be controlled. Okay, jobs have to be created. Export has to increase, and governance has to be decentralized. The biggest thing I would recommend, which is very difficult to do in today's environment, is to decentralize everything to district level. Today, it is all centralized to central level. Let every district run their show. There are 700 districts in India, each one with almost 2 million people roughly, because of 1.4 billion people, 700 district. And let each district be run as an independent country almost, entity. And they should worry about their education. They should worry about their water. They should worry about their jobs. And then districts would go to states saying, this is where we need common help. States will go to the federal government saying, these are the issues of defense that you need to deal with. Today, it is top down. We want bottom up.
Sure thing, Sam. Pranay Kumar from LinkedIn is asking, do you think a liberal democratic politics is losing its grounds in India due to weak central leadership and poor institutional efforts? Please suggest measures.
No, like I suggested, we need to build democracy back on track. We should put it back on track. We need independent institutions. We need less authoritarian mindset because country is too big. So this idea of running like a police, doesn't work. Our beauty is our diversity. Our beauty is our chaos. I remember reading an article in Wall Street Journal maybe 30 years ago, 35 years ago, when the editor of Wall Street Journal had gone to China. I don't know whether he wrote it or somebody else wrote it. He said, when I went to China, this article said, that I realized that everything is calm, everything is working, everything is, according to discipline, but things are boiling underneath. And when I go to India, everything is boiling on the surface. Chaos, confusion, arguments, discussion, but everything is calm underneath. And I think that says it all. India may be boiling on the surface, but it is very calm underneath. Other countries look very calm at the top, but they are just boiling underneath. And that's the difference in India.
Awesome, Sam. So Dilsad Ali from LinkedIn is asking, I have seen many people disparaging our leaders who have fought for us with their blood and sweat and gave us freedom and built strong democracy and national capabilities. By probing it, I find social media are misleading them. How do we deal with this misinformation that is misleading a lot of us?
I think social media has played an important role in misinformation, in amplifying lies. People lie through their teeth. I don't know why they do that. Okay. I mean, the funny thing is, recently for last week, you have seen some of my interviews on EVM and all that. So my wife sent me a little news by somebody. I never read anything written on me. That's my style because I don't care. Don't change my opinion. Don't tell me, this or that because it might change my mind. So my wife said, have you seen this? I said, what is it? She said, somebody has on social media that Sam Pitroda diverted lots of money in Rajiv Gandhi's time to a private company. It's ridiculous. A total lie. I have nothing to do with anything. But this will get amplified. Saying, oh, did you know that the people will discuss? Did you know that Sam Pitroda took money? I took 1 rupee salary for all the time of my work in India. I never took any salary. I never took any benefit. You get TADA when you travel for government. I never did that. But people do these kinds of nasty things. It's okay. It'll go away. Truth will prevail.
Satyamave Jayate.
But it's painful at times. Okay.
It's not easy, Sam.
Yep.
Vairam from Twitter is asking, will you visit India before 2024 elections? Congress need a lot of money to fight elections.
Well, I'm sure I will. You know, I'm sure I will. But let me tell you, I find that I can get more done from Chicago than being in India. For last week, I have been on interviews and TV channels, sometimes from 6:30 in the morning to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I get exhausted.
I think with the EVM topic, we have put the fire on Indian media as well as international media,
Right.
let's say.
And thanks to media, they've given us the opportunity. I'm thankful to them. I appreciate all the help and support they have given. And thanks to you all, young people, who really trigger the thing. Okay.
I think your call
The point
for
is, yeah,
boycotting election was a very bold one, Sam. I think
yeah,
which
I
nobody
believe
in
that. I believe that. But the point I'm making is that, uh, I forgot the point I was making. What was it? We were discussing something. I totally forget.
the last week EVM
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
is
yeah. So I get more done from here. When I go to India, I get trapped in social activities. Go to somebody's house for dinner, have useless conversation. Everybody bitches and complains, and you drive and you are in traffic for an hour, and you don't really get to do kind of things I can do from here. I think video conferencing has been a great, great help to me. I remember working on video conferencing in 1966. Would you believe that? In 1966, I had an assignment to design video conference at GTE. And then the question was mainly bandwidth compression. And there were some very interesting people at Bell Labs who had worked on bandwidth compression. One name I remember was an Indian professor or scientist, Dr. Jayant. I don't know whether he's alive or not anymore. This was, many, many years ago, 50 years ago, almost. And now it took 50 years to make it a reality almost. Now it is free all the time, anywhere. Okay. But it has been a 50-year journey, believe me. People thought about video conference in the 60s. There was no infrastructure. There was no technology. There were no displays. There was no transmission. There was no speed, you know. So, but that's what it takes. And somebody designing something today might say, oh, I did the video conferencing. No, many people worked on it. Nothing gets done by one or two individuals. There was a program by IBM once on research, and they invited me to speak. And I said, all research today is multidisciplinary. In my generation, as an individual, I could design something on my own. Now you cannot. You need psychologist, design expert, you need economist, business development fellow. All research today is not only multidisciplinary, but also happening faster than ever before. And it requires a lot of collaboration, cooperation, co-creation. The nature of innovation has changed completely. Yeah. So things keep changing. Yeah.
thank you, Sam. And Raunak Tavade from LinkedIn is asking about, dear Sam sir, I am a staunch congressman and I am a believer of Gandhian philosophy, but it really breaks my heart when I go out on social media and see that the youth from my generation is lacking the knowledge of our real history. Whereas there is more hate that is imbibed by the BJP in their minds. I feel, sir, we need to work hard again to bring in this ideology amongst the young generation. We need the harmony and the brotherhood in the country again to flourish in our sectors. Please guide.
Agree with you 100%. We need more people like you to do it. It is unfortunate that young people get misguided. They celebrate dictatorial leaders, authoritarian leaders, when they enjoy freedom. They don't realize that what they enjoy is at stake. It'll hit them some point in time. if you want to build future based on democracy, you got to protect democracy. It's a work in process, and it is everybody's responsibility. So I tell young people that you need to really build good self. Nobody teaches you how to build good self. Good self is very complicated stuff. Self that is respectful of others, self that is ethical, disciplined, analytical, creative, self that is not very fragile. Business schools don't teach you how to build good self. It comes from observing people, from family background. You got to be comfortable with yourself. If you're not comfortable with yourself, you cannot be comfortable with somebody else. See, in order for me to respect you, I must respect myself. If I do not respect myself, I'll find faults in you. Okay? It's easy to find faults in people. But can you really see good in people? Work around it and ignore faults? Because you're not going to change them overnight. And a lot of these things come from experience.
Sure, sir. Bhavani Singh is asking an interesting question. When will INC start treating workers with respect? Why do INC leaders cut people who are dedicated to party instead of leaders? This may be a very common complaint what we get to hear.
I
But
agree with that. I agree with him, and I'm concerned about that because these leaders are insecure. That's all there is to it. They are insecure. Okay. If they will build their self esteem, like I said earlier, they won't treat people with disrespect. I have a different approach. When I go to meetings and all, I focus on the weakest, youngest. I give them more importance. I do exactly opposite to what people would expect. Senior people, I sort of ignore them, not by design, but out of respect. Saying, you have an idea, but let's hear younger people out. Yeah. So sometimes you have to make extra effort. Yeah.
Himanshu Maratkar from Facebook is asking, why doesn't Congress re-strategize their whole theory to ensure a new phase of leadership, except for the Gandhis? I think this is also one of the very maybe a common question. So how we can reinvent the party?
Let me tell you, these are, I mean, people don't understand some of these basic issues. For example, when I go to speak somewhere, my name would attract, let's say, 200 people. And if Rahul Gandhi goes to speak, it will attract 200,000 people. What do I do? Okay. It is not you create another young leader, and if he goes to speak, 20 people will come to see him. Okay. Numbers speak loud and clear. It's a brand, it's not dynasty. In a marketing sense, it is a brand that you have created. And now you are telling me that get rid of that brand and get some other brand and build it. It may take 50 years to build that other brand. Okay. Take logo of uh,
Apple?
any company, this cross health. Uh, take any logo. Okay. Apple logo is a good example. It took so many years to build Apple logo. Now some guy comes and says, build a new logo. It's just in the same category, my friend. It's not that simple. Okay. Gandhi family is seen as the custodian of the idea of India. Everybody knows. Okay. When we go abroad with Rahul, just the Gandhi family name, the head of the state will say, okay, would like to spend an hour. If there are some other young leader, Joe Blow, they wouldn't even give him 5 minutes. Okay. And it is not that Rahul Gandhi is not capable. Rahul Gandhi is a symbol. With him, there is whole party, whole people, infrastructure. It is not individual that is important. Okay.
And also the party is also very kind of very symbolic about the sacrifices the Gandhi families have made, right? I think
Of
nobody.
course. But it's all connected. That's why Gandhi family is respected.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Why do people come to listen to him in masses? Okay, just ask them, saying, here is a new leader. Will you come to listen to him, or will you come to listen to this guy? Okay. The new leader may have better things to say, perhaps. That's okay. But nobody's there to listen. Okay. See, performance parameters are different. It is not about how well you can speak. It is about leadership, is all about how many people follow you. That's what leadership is about. You know.
Also, the volition of the family
And
for the policy of the country
as a
is.
leader, you got to look back and see who is following me. If there's nobody following you, you are not a leader. Okay. So, okay.
Bharati is asking caste politics by Congress? Question mark.
I think it is not a question of caste politics, but it is a question of lifting people from inequality. I'm a son of a carpenter. I'm OBC. Has anyone ever said that the telecom revolution was started by OBC? When Rahul Gandhi once in UP said that Sam Pitroda is a son of a carpenter, lots of people criticized him. Even in my own family, people said, how dare he could do this? I said, it's okay, it's perfectly all right. I am son of a carpenter. What's the problem? I'm proud to be. Okay. But how many people from OBC and Dalits get the opportunities I got and take advantage of it? Okay. What is India's contribution in my life? Beside the roots and family and parents and gene and all, is that I could get a master's in physics for less than $10. How could I do that anywhere else? And I'm a product of my education. Education redefined me. Education is a very powerful instrument if you know how to use it. Okay. It wipes your past out. It creates new future for you. Okay. So it is not caste politics. It is more about how do we, and we haven't done a good job in the past. Remember that. If we had done a good job in the past, we wouldn't be here talking about this. So we need to fix it. Maybe in the past, we didn't have the tools and the resources to address it. Now there are enough people from Dalits and OBC who need to be promoted, who need to be recognized, who need to be, I don't know whether I gave this example to you, but let me tell you, maybe I did once. And if I did, pardon me for repeating it. 6 months ago, I had a professor who was visiting from India, from Philadelphia, called me and he said, sir, I want to come and see you. I said, look, there's no need for you to travel all the way. Why don't we do a Zoom call? He said, no, 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 I must come and see you personally. So I finally agreed, said, okay, come. So he came. He was Banjara, sort of from Andhra. And we talked, and he was very good. He did his PhD, and he was here as a visiting professor for a while, and excellent human being, warm, simple. And then I asked him, I said, what's your name? He said, my name is Bhangya Bhukhya. So I said, that's very strange. He said, why? He said, do you know the meaning of your name? He said, no. I said, Bhangya means broken. Bhukhya means hungry. So your name is Broken Hungry. How did it come about? Because you guys went from Gujarat to South India hundreds of years ago. You were nomad. You know, Banjaras are just moving people without any fixed location. Okay. I said, if you are given a name like that, it affects your mindset. Fortunately, you don't know what it means. So you lucked out. Okay. But this has been going on in India for too long. Look at all the Dalits, look at all the people, scavengers, how we treat them, and how they are given their jobs. With all the technology we haven't designed equipment for scavengers. Okay. With all the great expertise we haven't designed street cleaning equipment to meet Indian needs. We have Jhadu, and the next thing is $100,000 truck from US to clean roads. There is nothing in between.
Make in India, Startup India,
Right.
so
Or
many.
bicycle or rickshaw to clean streets. Okay. We don't do that. Okay. Because, as I always said, best brains in the world are busy solving problems of the rich who really don't have problems to solve. And as a result, problems of the poor don't get the right talent. So it is time for us to talk about caste. It is time for us to bring them in the mainstream. I think it's good timing.
Thank you, Sam. I think how are we doing on time, Sam? It's like
We can do another maybe 5-7 minutes and close
sure,
maybe at in another 8 minutes.
sure, Sam. Khalid from Facebook is asking what effort is being made to develop a young leader training for the party in the party.
There are lots of young leaders. There are lots of uh, training programs. There is a gentleman, Sachin Rao, who runs a training program for the party. It's a pretty elaborate training program. But to me, the real training lies in reading these two books. If you read Discovery of India and Gandhiji's autobiography, you are trained, according to me. Okay. What else you can learn? It is not about productivity, efficiency, cost reduction. It's not MBA training. It's a training of your soul. It's a training of your mind. Okay. Either you do it or you don't do it. But a lot of young people I find want instant gratification. They come in and say, what is my title? What do I get? When do I become next boss? How do I step over somebody? Ultimately, it boils down to character. Are you really ready to sacrifice? Are you in the party to get something or to give something? Very big difference. Most of the people want to get something and not give something. Dhirubhai Ambani and I had this conversation once, and we were talking. He was really good. I admired him. I liked him as a person. We were friends, family friends. And he would say, Satyan Bhai, he said, one of the problems is those who want to give don't have anything to give. And those who have something to give want to take more. Think about this. Okay. Those who should be giving want to take more from the system. Give me more license, give me more tax break, give me more opportunities. And the guy who comes and says, I want to give, what do you want to give? Well, I don't have a job, but I want to give. We get a job first, then give. So there is a disconnect here.
Sure, sir. Manav is asking, without coming on ground and fight EVMs, I think which are not going to be banned by Rahul Gandhi or Congress party is not coming after losing elections. Congress senior leaders will say EVMs gohlata ho gaya. So I think the message what Manav I think may be trying to say is, why are we not fighting EVMs on the ground? Maybe.
I think we are fighting on the ground. There is a big, people have to join in. This can't be a party issue. This has to be a citizen issue because it is all about citizens' vote. Don't forget, ultimately, my vote is not counted as casted. If you can assure me that my vote would be counted as casted, I'm okay. So the fight is citizens, not parties. Okay. So I believe a lot of citizens are now waking up. I saw that there is a big march on January 6th planned by a bunch of lawyers. I saw some video and they were very good. These lawyers were very good. They were committed. They want to do something. So people will rise. You know,
What are the top 5 future priorities for the Congress?
I already went through it. Okay, I can go through it again.
Maybe one word answers
Try one
suffice.
more time. It may be a little different this time, but that's okay. First, put democracy back on track. Second, create more jobs. Third, fix economy, inflation, budget, all that. Fourth, decentralize implementation at district level. And five, focus on basic needs, education, health, environment, infrastructure, energy. Not rocket science.
Awesome, Sam. So, how do you think that we will come out of this past 9 years of maybe brutal, undemocratized version of India? How
It is,
Congress party is
it
trying to
is for
come?
the people of India to decide. People of India will have to decide that 40% votes go to BJP, 60% votes get divided in multiple parties. If these parties as part of the alliance come together, you cannot defeat them. If they don't come together, 40% will decide the destiny of the remaining 60%. Because the democracy is such that winner takes it all. Okay. 40% will say it is our prime minister and he can do anything for you. He can put you in jail, he can do this, he can do that, he can change because we are in power. So that's a problem with party, with democracy. Winner takes it all. Yeah.
And what is that one message you have for Mallikarjun Kharge, who's our president? You want to kind of pass as a president of Congress party, what he has to do for the future of the
I have
country?
no message for the president of Congress party. He's qualified, he's capable. I like him. He's very humble, he's very simple. He's doing his job as best as he knows how to do. He works very hard. All I can say is we are here to support you. We are here to help you. Okay. You have a tough task and you don't need my advice. Yeah.
How
But
about
you need
Rahul?
to be assured. But you need to be assured that we are here. Same with Rahul Gandhi. Okay. I have no advice. I have no advice for my own children. How can I give advice to somebody else? Okay. Nobody wants to listen. They have their own view. That's okay. That's perfectly all right. But I want them to know that I'm here for them. And can I call you back? I'm online, video conference. Thank you.
I can
Okay.
understand Kharge, but why do you think you don't have advice for Rahul? You think he is on a good charter?
No, we talk. We talk. We have conversation. It's not advice. I don't advise my wife also. I don't advise my children, like I said. But we talk. You pick up whatever you want to pick up.
You share
I would
opinions.
not say that, Sean, my advice is you change your shirt. No, I don't do that. Okay. That's not my job for anybody.
Anything for the youth of India, Sam, as a kind of a very important functionary of
Build,
a 138 years old party.
I would
As
say, build a good self. Build a self that is respectful, disciplined, ethical, analytical, like I said, self that is uh, collaborative, okay, and self that is comfortable. Okay. And there is so much to read and so much to learn and so much to observe and so much to soak in. Keep growing, keep learning. You know, I learn everything every day. And there is something always which I don't know. Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
Sam. I think there
Thank
are
you,
questions about
everybody.
EM stuff, I think, which we have been discussing. But in case if you want to add anything for Maya Manan, why can't the India bloc unanimously demand election 2024 to be done such that the ballots are back, no ballot, no votes?
Well, this is your advice to them, and I hope they take it seriously.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Thanks for the
Thank
time.
you, everybody.
Looking
Thank
forward.
you very much. Really
Thank you.
appreciate the opportunity, and I enjoy these conversations.
Thank you.
I
See you,
hope
Sam.
you enjoy it.
Yep.
Okay. And this is how we build
Yep.
relationships. Okay.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. Thanks, Ron
Bye.
and others for organizing.
Bye,
What
Sam.
happened to all our other colleagues?
Now, today, I think India with Congress, I think they are busy, but I think we have got a good audience this week on our own. I think your tribe is growing, Sam. Sense with
Thank you.
Sam.
Thank you.
See you,
Well,
Sam. Bye.
thank you because you guys have done it. You and Rakesh and others. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Bye.